Scott, thanks for taking the time to join us today and accommodating us in this pandemic socially distant format.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for speaking with me.
With folks reacting to COVID, we see a lot more trending in cord cutting going on. Do you think this is going to be a significant change that we're going to see stay in consumer behavior, as well as maybe changing a shift in advertiser priorities?
Absolutely. It is a trend that started before the pandemic, and the pandemic has really acted to just accelerate and cement the trend. 80% of US households, if we just focus on the US, are streaming today. And if you look at what's happened with sports viewers, their viewership back on linear television has actually not fully rebounded. So a heavy sports viewer in the Roku ecosystem, their linear viewership now is down still 26%.
Any other trends you've seen in consumer behavior, and is there a difference between in the U.S. and globally?
Well, I think broadly the pandemic has caused consumers to move a large portion of their viewership to streaming. And within streaming, there are many different business models. We've seen a very significant surge in subscription services, in transactional services, movie rentals and purchases. And for a long time now, ad supported consumption has been surging and it continues to grow very quickly. As consumers cut the cord and move their viewership to streaming, there are only so many pay TV packages that they're going to sign up for before they hit a family budget limit. But they're not done stacking viewership in their streaming experience. And so they'll tend disproportionately to then layer on more viewing with ad supported services. If you look globally, all the trends that we see here in the States are playing out internationally.
With cord cutting accelerating, there's a lot of competition in what we've seen with the emergence of other OTT platforms coming in over the summer. Can you talk about the competitive landscape a little bit and how you see that shifting as well?
Every major media company understands that the future of television is 100% streamed. We look at our competition at Roku in the ad market as heavily about competing away money that is still being spent against linear television. Proportionate to the audiences that have left linear television and moved to streaming, there's still too much money being spent in linear television. About 30% of all TV viewership is now done through a smart TV platform, through streaming, but only 3, 4, 5% of TV budgets are spent there. What I also think is interesting about streaming advertising or OTT advertising is it's a native digital platform. And so we're able to do things with streaming advertising that are simply not possible with linear television. But it's also going to bring in another class of advertisers who historically have been unable to invest in television because it doesn't have the measurement, the performance attributes of digital. In most digital media, search, social, have grown up as almost perfect performance media. They aren't provably great branding media because your ability to swipe that ad off screen or ignore it is very powerful in social media. It's made those platforms extremely effective for marketers, for say D2C advertisers. It's an incredibly powerful mechanism, and those large social media platforms have built a great tool set for optimizing to bottom funnel metrics. What I think is exciting about OTT is all those same capabilities are available in OTT, but on a 65-inch television in your living room. Marketing, digital marketing, is getting harder for marketers and ad tech players who often don't have a direct consumer relationship. Regulators are making it harder to pass around identifiers as players who don't have that direct consumer relationship. We think that's ultimately a good thing. Empowering consumers, providing transparency, giving them the controls they need to stop or limit cross-device tracking, we think actually has a lot of merit. But it does mean that effectiveness in marketing is going to come down to who knows the consumer, who has that relationship. And that's where the power of platforms come in. They have a direct consumer relationship and they know the consumer intimately, and they can help the marketer optimize to that consumer's interest.
Expanding on that, what do you feel the future looks like? What else do you think we'll see when it comes to filmed entertainment consumption on televisions?
I just think the consumer experience, the depth of content, the tools that you have as a consumer to find that content or have that content find you is only headed in one direction. That again is a consumer win, but it's also a win for the content business where you have a way to reach a consumer other than trying to sell your content to a cable channel. I'm excited about revolutionizing TV as an advertising media. It earns itself an incredible amount of money in the US and globally, but it hasn't gotten smarter for decades. And so we have an opportunity to bring all of the digital capabilities together with the power of that big screen in the living room. And I think it means ultimately that marketers are going to just have even more optionality than they've ever had for how to reach consumers. And to bring that back to the consumer, more funding, more advertiser participation means richer consumer experiences, subsidized experiences, more relevant ad experiences. And so the consumer, again, just comes out as the winner.
Let's turn to leadership for a minute. Is there anything that's come out of this crisis that you've learned, anything that it's in particular that it's taught you?
I think we've all learned that working remotely is not only possible, you can be quite productive. And for some folks, it actually can help them achieve a better work-life balance. So I think that's been a key learning for us as leaders. I think also agility, the ability as a company to be agile in how you respond to the evolving dynamic has been very important. It's certainly a core cultural attribute at Roku that we tend to push decision making down into the organization, empower leaders, managers to make decisions for their team that are appropriate for their teams to be productive.
I want to end on one more question on motivation. What motivates you? What motivates you to go through this jungle and to do so well in this journey?
Streaming overall is just a fascinating business to be in. It's because of that complexity. And success isn't just about picking great talent or producing a great movie or building a little black box or being good at software or being good at machine learning or ad tech. It's some of all of that. And companies that can put those things together in a way that delivers great value to content owners, and to advertisers are going to win. And that's a big part of what I think is so interesting about the business that Roku's in.
Well, Scott, with that, I'll say thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to join us to share with us today, and stay well.
Yeah, thank you. You too.